All right, joining us now, Louisiana Republican Senator John Kennedy. Senator, welcome back to Fox News Sunday. All right, let me start there. You hear that these attacks continue overnight, although President Trump has said to President Putin, you got to stop it, knock it off. There are brand new polling numbers that we've got out today that the American people do not think President Trump is handling this well. His job approval on handling Russia and Ukraine is at 36% and 39%, respectively. Is it foolish to think that Putin does want peace, and will he be emboldened if part of this deal includes giving him territory?
I think, Shannon, America is paying the price right now for President Biden's appeasement. The Biden people believed in diplomacy, first, last, and always. We're in a knife fight with Russia and China and Iran. And the Biden people wanted to quote Socrates to them. I see what you see. Here's what I see. Putin has reneged on every promise that he has made to President Trump. His latest proposal is, well, nothing. He wants to keep all the territory that he's taken. He wants to prohibit Ukraine from joining NATO, and he wants America and Europe to stop helping Ukraine. I think that Putin thinks that America has taken the bullet train to Chump Town. I think he thinks we're afraid of him. He has jacked around President Trump at every turn. He has disrespected our president. I don't think it's going to get any better until we make it clear to Mr. Putin that we are willing to turn him and his country into fish food. And I'm not talking about nuclear weapons or nuclear war. I would start with oil, which I will be glad to talk about if you want.
Well, and there has been some discussion. Obviously, there are sanctions on Russia, and it begs the question whether that's getting their attention, whether more sanctions will make more of a difference. I know that there are all kinds of things happening with where its oil ends up, and some of that's in violation of the sanctions. So do we need better enforcement against other countries that are violating that? Where do we go from here on getting Russia's attention?
Well, America, under President Biden, and Europe agreed that Russia can continue to sell its oil as long as they don't get more than $60 a barrel. Russia gets 1/3 of its revenues from oil. We need to stop all of the sales of oil. We need to get Russia down and choke them. They're not going to come to the table otherwise. I want a settlement in Ukraine. We also have to ask Europe to do better. Europe's got to start paying its own bills. If it wasn't for the American taxpayer, Putin would be in Paris right now. Europe's got to do more. But mainly, we've got to make Putin understand that there is a price to be paid for his jacking our president around.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to get that at this point. I want to ask you about Iran as well, because we just wrapped another round of talks with them. President Trump was asked by Time Magazine, this lengthy interview he had with them, about whether he worries about the U.S., quote, being dragged into a military situation with Iran because Israel takes action. But here's what he said. I may go in very willingly. If we can't get a deal, if we don't make a deal, I'll be leading the pack. What do you think happens if we get militarily involved with a strike on Iran?
Well, we're involved militarily with Iran. Iran hates America as much as it hates Israel. I would love to see a settlement with Iran, but Iran can't have access, directly or indirectly, to nuclear weapons. If Iran gets a weapon or is days away from getting a weapon, there will be a war. Iran won't start it, and America won't start it. Israel will. And Israel knows that if Iran gets a bomb, Israel is a smoke turkey. The first thing Iran will do will be to bomb Israel. And Israel's not going to tolerate that, and I don't blame them.
All right, I want to make sure I get to a couple of other things with you. Legally, you're an attorney, as am I. You have said that you will call out President Trump loudly if you think he is not following federal courts and the orders that they have. The Supreme Court has made some statements about what the administration should be doing with respect to getting Kilmar Abrego Garcia back from El Salvador. They've admitted that was a mistake. You've talked about them making a mistake with that, too. But federal judge Paula Zinnes does not think this administration is complying with that order. Here's a little bit of her order from April 22nd coming down on the Trump administration, saying there's been a continued mischaracterization of the Supreme Court's order. She's used the word specious. She said there's been willful and intentional noncompliance. Now, the president's legal team sees that order to facilitate and effectuate his return differently, clearly, than Paula Zinnes, the judge, sees that. What do you think the Supreme Court meant, and do you think the administration's in compliance?
I don't think President Trump has defied any federal orders. I don't know what these judges expect the federal government to do. Bukele has said he's not returning Mr. Garcia. Mr. Garcia is not coming back to the United States, ever. I don't think the federal courts can direct the executive branch to go in and try to take Mr. Garcia by force. I also think that Mr. Bukele in El Salvador is taking advice from China. He's much closer to China than he is to the United States. People don't realize that. And I think China is loving all this turmoil. I don't think that let me say it again, I don't think the president has defied any orders of a judge, nor should he. I believe in the rule of law. If you don't like a judge's opinion, you can criticize it. You can appeal it. That's why God made courts of appeal. Mm-hmm. If you're an elected official, you can quit if somebody orders you to defy it, but you can't defy it. That won't undermine the legitimacy of our entire system. But I don't think that President Trump has done that. I just don't know what these federal judges expect the executive branch to do.
Well, so much of this legal action has to do with immigration, deportation, the border. I want to read something from our next guest, Congressman Adam Smith, speaking to that issue. He says this: there are a lot of people in this country, undocumented, who should be allowed to stay. They have been a vital part of our economy. They are vital parts of our community. He says deporting them is often separating families. It's sending people back to countries they aren't even familiar with. What's your response to him?
Well, I have great respect for the congressman. What he has said would be interesting if it were true. Illegal immigration is illegal. Duh. If you don't like the law, change it. But you have to follow the law. The American people support legal immigration, but they don't support illegal immigration. They see the border like they see their front door. Most Americans lock their front door at night. They don't lock their front door because they hate everybody on the outside. They lock their front door because they love the people on the inside, and they want to know who's coming in and out of their home. The congressman and his party allowed 8 to 12 million people to come into our country illegally, and we don't have the slightest idea who they are. That's like adding 4 Nebraskas. If they believe in open borders. I mean, that's clear to me. Nobody is so incompetent as to allow that many people to come into our country. It has to be intentional. And the Democrats would be a lot more intellectually honest if they would just admit that they believe in open borders.
Well, I will ask him about that. Senator Kennedy, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.